What if you were in a grid down scenario where you had to grow your own food, but water was a huge issue? Because quite frankly, you can't garden unless you have water. Well, today we're going to talk about a way that you could be able to grow your own garden even when water is limited, or you have to rely on the water that you can capture or bring to your garden and you have to haul it. So watch today. This is good. Hey Provident Preppers, I'm Kylie and this is Eric from The Thirsty Earth. Now, a few weeks ago, he came and installed the Thirsty Earth system in my greenhouse in this front bed where I was having all kinds of problems with it drying out. And I'll leave a link to that video in case you're interested. But when I was talking to Eric, we were talking about how this system was actually designed kind of for preppers. Tell us about that.
I was in an off-grid gardening group on Facebook that had a connection with humanitarian projects in South Africa, in Eswatini specifically. And one of the people in that group was very, very interested in solving how do you water a garden and not spend more calories than you're growing? Because if you can imagine this, you're in a rural village, you don't have municipal water, you don't have water pressure, you're walking like a mile with a 5-gallon bucket to the river or to the pond or wherever your source of water is. And then you're walking that back a whole mile and then you water your garden, and you do that once or twice a day. 5 gallons, that's 40 pounds, that's burning a lot of calories. And unless you're growing more calories than you're consuming, you're slowly starving. So if you're underwater on the calorie equation because of your hand watering, how do you flip that right side up? And do it without using grid-dependent solutions, without requiring power systems and all that to make it run. The answer we came up with was Ollas. There are traditional Ollas that are not networked like ours are, but traditional Ollas are a great solution. If you were to utilize Home Depot pots, or if you were to utilize dedicated built ones that are more like bulbous, shaped like a teardrop, then you fill your garden with those. You're going to be filling those up every 3 or 4 days and filling each one. That's still way better than if you're dragging a 5-gallon bucket every day or twice a day to your garden. But what if you could have your garden watered by Ollas and have a reservoir that you fill once a week and that waters your garden for you? So from that question, we got together and this is what we came up with.
So talk to us about the design, because the design, when I first did my research and then I contacted Eric, I'm like, this is the perfect design for preppers. So talk to us about how it works.
An Olla is unglazed terracotta clay that is used as a watering system. And ours are interlinked. They allow you to connect to a central reservoir, use 1/4-inch tubing to connect them all together, and push to connect fittings. So it's all modular, like a Lego set. It's really easy to add or remove them, to move them around your garden as needed. And we experimented with these for about a year before we brought them to market, because just trying to figure out every little bit that we could. We shaped them like this so that they would get water deeper down to the roots, and also because they're very, very easy to stack and store, and they're very space efficient when they're shaped like a cup. We can fit 25 of them in our winter storage box pretty easily. And space can be at a premium when you are trying to manage all your preps. The other reason, which this wasn't an intentional design thing, but you do have to remove these in the winter if you experience freezing temperatures. If you're in zones 9B or above, where you don't experience freezing over winter, you can leave these in the entire year long and just keep going. If you're in a zone where it does freeze over winter and you were to use these with a perennial, you can put a between 20 and 28 ounce tumbler glass that you get from like Amazon or a restaurant supply or whatever, and put that as a placeholder.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Yeah, and then pop that out. and you'll know that it hasn't filled up. You don't have, the roots haven't grown into the hole. You're not going to disrupt your perennial's roots to put it back in there.
Okay, we were just looking and kind of troubleshooting my system today and all that. And where we were pulling these out, the roots seriously are hugging the pot, and they love it. I love that you could set it up in a way that you could capture rainwater and use that to feed all of your pots.
Yeah. For about 3 years, our garden ran off of rainwater. We had 3 55-gallon barrels that were daisy chained together with a downspout diverter that would take the best of the rainwater and funnel it into our rain barrels. And we had about 220 cups on that for like a close to 1,000 square foot garden. We were planting really densely. You don't need that kind of density unless you want to just absolutely grow the maximum. That's going a little bit more into home market gardening and that sort of thing. If we're talking about the ability to just pull these out and get gardening, get growing, you could have a kit in your closet or your storage. And if you need to, you could pull it out, grab your little survival seed vault, put these in the ground, and get your garden going for your family.
There are a couple different kinds of preppers. There are those like me who this is my lifestyle. I just live this homesteading. And I should say that both Eric and I are permaculture geeks. Yeah. And so he's actually a little bit more geeky than I am, but we won't hold that against him. But so when we talk about growing food, like we can grow massive amounts of food, and we like to work with nature. And that's one of the things about this system is that we're not fighting against gravity, right? We're using nature and gravity to our best advantage. Yeah. And I think that that's really important, because as we get into situations where growing our own food is so important, we can't add more labor, right? Well, we don't want to add more labor.
Right, calorie equation, you want to be right side up on that. You don't want to slowly starve.
And I think this is a really great way to do it. I think it would be a little bit of a pain to pull these out of the ground every year and put them away. But you know what? John pulls up our other things, and we have to prepare our system for winter every year. So you know what? Having those cups and putting them in place, I think is a really, really good idea. And for me, I grow in raised beds, and so I'm not tilling. And I have my reasons behind that. Most of them are permaculture kind of reasons. But man, putting that cup in there would mean it wouldn't be as challenging.
Yeah.
Right? And the system is really easy to put together. You would want to watch some of Eric's videos, because until you understand it, it might be a little bit foreign to you. But that's the other thing about Eric, is he is super good about troubleshooting for us. And we'll leave that link in the description of the video. But even if you're just preparing for the worst of times and you want to put stuff away, you can do that with this system. And I think that's really cool. Or you can use them all the time, like I do in my preps, so that I can feed my family. So thank you. I think this is a fabulous system. And I understand that the design actually originally came kind of from a preparedness mindset, right? There was the calorie thing, and then there was we can't do this.
When we look at it, when we think about hypotheticals where we might have to live off the food that we grow, where we might need these things, that is more of a fantasy. It's a possibility. It's a very real possibility. But right now, that's not the reality that we in the Western world are living in. But there are places that are living that. Like you go to those rural African villages. They do have to feed themselves, or they don't have food. And so by designing for a situation where that is really happening, like the thing that we fear, that like our worst fear is just kind of their day-to-day existence, and they're going on with their lives, and they're there with their families, raising children and doing all that in what we consider an end of times nightmare scenario, but for them, that's daily life. And it's not to say that everywhere is like that, but in rural villages that have less resources, less access to resources like municipal water or power or things like that, designing solutions for them and thinking about the way that people live like that will inform the kind of things that we should be looking at if we're anticipating the potential to have to live like that ourselves.
Thank you. Or can I say, if you just love growing your own food like I do and knowing where that food comes from and knowing that your water source is a good water source, right?
Absolutely.
And you're not contaminating your food with stuff.
And who doesn't want to have reduced labor, reduced effort, more automated, bigger yields, and save on water? For people who are experiencing HOA water limitations, water rationing, if you're in a drought, if you want to grow for your family, but you're kind of confused about how many times a week should I put my drip on, for how long, for how many gallons per hour, for what plant type of thing. This is a great solution, even if we never have to rely on it for survival. It can be a part of your life focused on thriving.
Now, you guys did some really fun math, and this little trivia, we're almost done, but this little trivia was really cool for me. So you guys calculated if all of the gardeners used something like the Ollas.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh man, I cannot pull the exact figures out of my head right now, but
Sorry, that was mean for me to do to him.
You know how there's a huge water shortage going on in Utah and the surrounding area to do with like Lake Powell, the Colorado River, the watersheds that are fed from that. And there's a lake. It's gone down over 1 million acre feet, I believe it was. So when we were doing the math, if every gardener in the US used these, the water savings would be enough to bring that lake up to full.
Isn't that kind of interesting? Kind of interesting, huh?
I'm a little fuzzy just pulling it off the top of my head, but if you look into it, if you dig into it, you can find this stuff on Google, and we would save that much water.
Kind of cool. So it's a great solution for a lot of us. I'd encourage you to look into it. And if you are one of those who can't garden today, just like you're putting away all your freeze-dried food storage for someday and not using it all the time, a big box of Ollas from the Thirsty Earth and a seed bank might just save you someday. It's better if you garden now. Totally better, I think. But
I agree.
Just in case. And one of the other things, these work great in pots, right? So
they do.
So that's another thing. Okay, so you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for this fabulous watering system for my greenhouse. It makes me so happy. And for all of you, what would you grow in an emergency? What is the one thing that you would want to make sure that you could grow if water was limited? And how do you plan to do that? Put it in the comments. And as always, thanks for being part of the solution. And Eric is definitely part of the solution.